Yeah, the shortest story I can remember is in relation to modern times is when the World Trade Center came down. That was my neighborhood. I worked in there. And I woke up that morning and I was listening to the radio and they said a plane hit the Trade Center, which, you know, I figured, okay, finally some dummy. You know what a Piper Cub is? Piper Cub is a small single-engine plane. Now, when I worked in the Trade Center, a lot of them flew over the river. And I figured, oh, you know, some guy just didn't pay attention, he hit the thing. So I turned on the television set and I saw this enormous hole and I said, that isn't a Piper Cub. And out of the corner of my eye, I caught the other plane that hit it. I shut off the television set and I never watched anything again till 6 months later because I didn't want to see all this hysteria about people jumping out and all that. But I was born in that neighborhood and I worked in the Trade Center.
Last night I was walking through the park, right, back here. And I heard somebody screaming, sound like a woman, right? And I thought she was being hurt or mugged or something like that. So I ran through the bushes to help her out. I grabbed the man off top of her, right? And the man happened to have been her husband and they was in the park role playing. So it was quite funny. Yeah, she jumped on my back and told me to get off her husband. And I was like stuck on stupid, like, who the hell is in the park at night doing role play?
There are crazy people everywhere. That does not mean you could condemn a whole group of people, just the idiots in it, which for the most part of me is religious idiots from all three religions, Christianity, Islam, and the Orthodox Judaism, which are all a bunch of nuts.
As a runner, I have many stories of people who run. And one of the things that runners like to do is say how much money they found on their path as they're running. Or they run around the reservoir. And sometimes other runners will drop money. And some runners are always looking down to see if there's any money on the track. And sometimes I have found $10 once, just running around the track. It was a good morning.
Now, my wife was a wonderful person. She was a belly dancer. She played the guitar. She played the piano. She sang and danced.
That sounds
and her name was Winnie.
My wife? I met my wife in a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, I met the love of my life when I was like 12 years old. We had a daughter when I was 14.
Oh, I met the love of my life at a wedding. I was a bridesmaid and he was an usher.
There was dancing going on before, and I think I just happened to look her way. So our eyes met a minute. So I asked her if she wanted to dance, and we danced and we connected.
She saw me sitting at a table, and she started to leave, but she changed her mind, walked over and sat down next to me.
We were sitting at the same table, and he lived in Manhattan. I live in Manhattan, and most of the other people lived on the island, Long Island. So he said, okay, I could take you home. You live in Manhattan.
I thought she was attractive, let's put it that way. She's probably a little thinner than as I remember. She was kind of thin, but I thought she was attractive.
It was love at first sight on her part.
We broke up when I was 16. I went away, and we just got back together again 3 years ago. And we plan on getting married. And this is my first love. Duchess, sit down.
There's a lot of favorite songs, but I happen to be, especially since my wife died, like a hopeless romantic. I can watch Sleepless in Seattle and Pretty Woman 72 times because I have an exercise machine and I tape stuff on DVD.
But I got high. Did you ever hear that song? I was gonna make love to you, but I got high. Never mind the rest.
The ones I like now is Wonderful World. You know that one?
Yeah.
I'm being interviewed. How are you doing?
I can't pronounce her name, but Avril Lavigne. I'm wrong. I like her. I like girlfriends a lot. Girlfriend, you know that kind.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Highland, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
You see, I think that's one thing about your generation, that I don't think you guys have romantic, really romantic music. And I'll give you, there's one song that's called All the Things You Are. And it starts out with a line, and you try and come up with a line from your music on this, right? But I don't blame you for you. This is what happens there, okay? It starts out with, you are the precious dream of summer. Now, isn't that a beautiful way to start? Okay, so I like that song, All the Things You Are.
You are the promised kiss of springtime.
If you should say something to the young people out there right now, what would you say? Like,
Have fun.
have fun. Well,
That's it.
Well, you have to be kind to people because you never know when you're going to meet them again. And it does happen that you meet people when you're younger, and then all of a sudden they pop up when you're older. So if you were good to them then, they remember. I worked for the New York Roadrunners, would put on the marathon, New York City Marathon. And I always had like cookies for people to come up. And one time we were in Washington doing a race, and someone, maybe 10, 15 years prior, remembered and came to me with a box of cookies. And things like that has happened with me all through my years.
Don't pay attention to the dumbass adults, especially in this country, because we have morons in this country like Sarah Palin and some of these other idiots like O'Donnell that run and they don't believe in evolution. They live like they lived 1,000 years ago. So don't pay attention to those idiots. We have primitive throwbacks that would bring back a culture of 1,000 years ago, the way they act. So just as go see all the wonderful things in the world. I've been to Egypt, Africa, and a Russian icebreaker across the top of North America. It's a wonderful, beautiful world. So work hard enough to make just enough money to do that, and you don't have to worry about anything else. Okay? And make it a better world by not paying attention to the adults. Go ahead.